You are important. This building is incredible. Our facilities upgrades over the last years are incredible. Our program improvements over the past years are incredible. And many of you have been personally responsible for those improvements. But what I'm going to try to do in a brief period of time tonight is get to another place to try to get you to understand how you are important to these kids on a more personal level. We did have a good year this past year. We were Big Ten champions indoors. Scott mentioned the Program of the Year. Program of the Year is a thing where they look at the national championship finish in cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track, and determine who has the best overall program in the country. Florida State was first, Indiana was second, Texas was third, Texas A&M was fourth, and Florida was fifth. And I say that so that you understand what kind of company our track and field program is now in. We don't have to come to Indiana. We don't have to come to Indiana and believe that we need to play second fiddle to anyone. It just takes a little time and a whole lot of work, and we truly believe we can compete with anybody. Success and winning can be funny things. We tend to set expectations and standards for performance that are driven by safety and comfort. No one likes to fail, so we tend to pull back a bit and strive for less in an effort to minimize the need to process failure. We then talk about and evaluate what we're doing within the context of those goals rather than stretching ourselves and demanding the most we have to give. We all do it. Athletes try to appear to be committed for a couple of hours a day but forget that champions are champions the other 22 hours as well. Coaches work constantly to find energy necessary to motivate and push their athletes beyond where they want to go, but sometimes find it easier to settle for less or meet them halfway for fear they will lose their team. Support staff and administration fight the urge to just punch the clock, take care of their own job instead of investing fully in the process of driving and supporting success. And many fans are fair weather fans waiting to support us when things are finally going the way that they'd like to see them go. Champions are cut from a different cloth. It may be in their DNA, it may be learned, but it is real. And I've got 3 examples that were part of our program this year that I would like to talk about just a little bit to help you understand where I'm coming from. Molly Beckwith graduated from IU in 2010. She came to IU to play soccer. She'd had 2 knee surgeries before she got here. She had 2 more once she was here. And the year before I arrived, she decided maybe soccer wasn't going to work for her and decided to try track and field. We had our ups and downs. She got better and better, and at her senior year, she was second in the NCAA championships. She was very good. If you were watching the Olympic trials this year, you watched her come off the last turn when 3 people qualified for our Olympic team. You watched her come off the last turn in second place and about 10 meters out, falter, and end up 4th, 0.6 of a second out of the win. She was devastated, but she was undeterred. And at this point in time, she's preparing to go back to Europe in the second half and will run incredibly well, has committed to 2016. She's great every day. She's not great when she wants to be. She's great every day, and she's great at a level where failure is risked every day. Derek Druin. Derek Druin, on Tuesday, if you were watching television, you watched him get 3rd in the Olympic Games and win the bronze medal in the high jump, jumping 7 feet 6 inches. He's the Canadian record holder. He's been a 3-time national champion while here at IU. A year ago, March, about 2 weeks after winning his 3rd national championship, we were at a meet outdoors in Mississippi State. He planted and blew up his foot. Tendons had to be reattached, ligaments had to be repaired, screws were put in his foot, and for all accounts, by all accounts, his career was over. But 5 days ago, 4 days ago, whatever it was, he became the Olympic champion. No excuses. He didn't feel sorry for himself. He loves to compete, and he competes at a level where failure is risked every day. And oh, by the way, while all this was going on this last semester, his grade point average was 3.875. Andy Bayer, sitting down here, this past June became the NCAA champion, as mentioned before, at 1,500 meters, but I kind of want to tell you the rest of the story. As a precocious, and he was, redshirt freshman at the National Indoor Meet in 2010, we qualified a distance medley relay at a last chance meet. We didn't belong in the meet, but we got him the baton at the national championships in the mix, and he decided he was going to try and win it. About 3 laps out, 4 laps out, he gets mixed up with the big boys, and he was a little boy at the time. They knock the baton out of his hand. The pack goes by, he goes back and picks it up, and he runs down 5 teams to secure a 7th place and All-American. Ran the mile after doing all that in 4:03. At that point in time, we knew we might have something special. The next day, at 3,000 meters, he took the lead with a couple laps to go against the best runners in the world and got 3rd place, getting beat by 67/100ths of a second. It was okay because we had outdoor, except he got hurt and didn't get to compete outdoors. So now we're at 2011. In 2011, at the National Indoor Meet, the same thing. We're down in 9th place when he gets the baton on the distance medley. He proceeds to run the fastest anchor of all time, 3:53.3, and we got 2nd place. He got beat by 37/100ths of a second. He came back the next day, determined to make up for that in the 3K, went for the win, got 3rd place, got beat by 99/100ths of a second. This year, at the Indoor National Championships, we were going to win the distance medley. He stalked the leaders, he sat on the shoulder, he came off the turn, and he got 2nd, getting beat by 19/100ths of a second. But came back the next day in the mile where we knew he had a great chance to win, got 5th, 47/100ths of a second out of the win. And now let's take a look at this. At our outdoor championships at Drake University in June, in a race that featured 3 former national champions, the collegiate record holder in the mile, the former collegiate record holder of the mile, and the American collegiate record holder at 1,500 meters, it went to the wire, and he finally got his win by 1/100th of a second. Being an All-American and almost winning is not good enough for a champion. He was mocked on the message boards because he always went for the win and never won anything. And yet he kept lining up and lining up and lining up. Champions are great every day. They're not deterred by failure. There's no excuses. And they love the challenge of competition at the highest level. And his grade point average, 4.0. I'm getting to my point. In my world, we need lots of help. When we run a Purdue in a dual meet in January, we get to line up 32 people, and I need all 32 people to score to give us a chance to beat Purdue, as we always do. A month later, or 6 weeks later, when we go to the Big Ten Championships, if I can get 10 to 15 people to score and score well, we win, as we did this past year. When we go to the NCAA Championships, the biggest stage, if I have 2 or 3 people perform at a high level, were really, really good. Their efforts make us relevant on the biggest stage and give everyone else's contribution greater value. And I would say to you, you as donors, you as supporters of our programs, are those people who make us relevant on the biggest stage and help everyone else's contribution have greater value. The job of being a champion is never over. It's not that they don't take satisfaction in a job well done. It's just that champions never stop trying to be the best they can be. Thank you for all your support, and rest assured there are many committed athletes across many sports dedicated to be champions here at IU. When I recruit, and one of the first things I hear from the recruit is, what do I get? It's a huge, big red flag. The question I follow up with is, what are you willing to give? What are you willing to commit in an effort to make us successful? When the answer is, whatever it takes, I want to be the next Molly Beckwith, I want a medal like Derek Druin, I want to win like Andy Bayer, and that person signs on to be a Hoosier, then we are all entrusted with the job of developing, supporting, and nurturing an individual who's willing to bare his soul and become incredibly vulnerable in an effort to become the best that he can be, while hopefully representing us with class, dignity, and humility. Your support makes that possible at Indiana University. And for that, I'm more grateful than you know. You are our champions. Thank you for all you do.